Hey, I'm glad you're here. Let's go make a Santa hat. In addition to Ravelry, when I'm actually knitting a project, I use Knit Companion. You can download a PDF, you can download directly from Ravelry, um, or you can use Dropbox. I don't use Dropbox. I usually just download a PDF from Ravelry onto my phone and then pull it in. But once you load it, what's nice about this program, and this is the Santa hat pattern that we're doing here, it's 220 Superwash Santa hat from Cascade Yarns, designed by Adina Lodgson. And you can see how cute it is on her. Um, but what I like about this software, you can also turn it sideways if you want. You can pinch and zoom. You can get rid of that somehow. Not that way. There we go. So that you don't have the pages at the top. Um, but you can zoom in. This blue you can drag back and forth so that it can mark your page from left to right. And then there is a yellow section that you can go up and down with. And this is really nice for charts. So there's no chart on here, but let me show you on a different project. Like these mitts. This is a free pattern as well. There is a chart for the increases for the thumb gusset. And you start at the bottom and you follow your chart, and every time you finish a row, then you move up. And this is so nice for me. And when you leave and come back, it remembers its place. So it's good to go. Today I'm going to start a tutorial for you on how to make a Santa hat. I have a certain pattern that I will link in the description below, and this is going to be in multiple parts. So today I'm going to cover what we need and show you how to cast on and how to do 2x2 ribbing. And then when we come back for the next part, I'll show you how to fold over the ribbing to make a double thickness band for the brim of the hat, and how to start knitting with the red. We'll start with the white and do our 2x2 ribbing, and then once the ribbing is done, we will kind of fold it over, and then along the live stitches along the edge, we'll add our red yarn, and then we'll knit the hat. All right, so what are we going to need? You're going to need needles, of course, and I'm using circular needles. I usually use ChowGoo, and these are size 6, US 6, 4mm, 40-inch cable. I am also using a synthetic yarn called Wool-like Simililane. This color is white. It says 85% acrylic and 15% nylon. Honestly, I think they're both plastic, so I don't know why they separate them like that. And the color is white. Lot number is 1164, but you can see I got this on sale. Nice price. And it's really good yarn. I like it. It ends up being really springy after you do the ribbing with it, so it's nice stuff. And I've not used this one before. This is Karen 1 pound Yarnspirations, but I got it because I'm planning on making a bunch of Santa hats. And this is acrylic too. Wanted something that was going to wash well. This white I'm going to hold double because it's very fine. And this is just going to be held single when we get to that point. But it's 100% acrylic as well. And it should make it easy to wash and care for. And then as I'm working, I'm going to keep everything in this cute little Jack Skellington Nightmare Before Christmas bag that I purchased at the farmer's market locally. And it was created and designed by E. Taschen, who's a local maker. And it's simply just a little tote bag, big enough to hold this big ball of yarn. And there's no pockets on the inside, but it should work pretty well for what we're doing here. All right, so I already have a couple balls of the white that I have separated into 2 balls so that I can work with it double. So you've got both of those coming out. And I always keep the packaging for my chalgu needles. And I keep it in the bag with the project so that once I'm done, I can put it back in. That's just my way of organizing. I don't have a ton of needles like some people do, where they have like special organizing systems to do that. I just keep mine back in the original. And that's what they look like. These chalgu needles are really nice because this table in between is stainless steel coated with plastic. But what's nice about this, if you don't like the way that it's kinking, you can put this into warm water and reshape it. So that's really nice. They also do make an option that has the connector that swivels, but these are just standard non-swivels. I haven't made it to the swivel version yet. But so we are going to cast on for this particular pattern. I'm modifying it a bit. We're going to cast on 100 stitches using a long tail cast on. And you can see I've got a little bit of yarn barf happening here. 100 stitches. I'm going to go to my shoulder. We'll go 2.5 times. Because when I'm doing socks and I do 66 stitches, I do 1.5. So we'll do 2.5 lengths. So we've got all of this as our tail. And right about here, we're going to start our cast on. So, and this part I learned from Denise, who is the Earth Tones girl. She does not do a slip knot, and this actually works really well. What you're going to do is make like a slingshot in this hand. You're going to take your needle and just upside down and then twist until it's like that. Just wrap it once and then you'll do your long tail cast on. And in order to keep spacing so that it's nice and stretchy, once you cast it on, keep your index finger on the loop that's immediately before the next one you're going to make. And for long tail cast on, you'll go under the thumb and over the one that's on your index finger and then back through that loop and then pull it tight. And you can see I've got just a little bit of space there. And when you let go, don't pull it anymore. Just let it keep that slack there, and that's what helps give you the stretch. So there's another one. And another one. Then I'll let you watch that a few more times. And then I probably will either speed it up or do a cut so that you don't have to watch the entire thing. But you can see how it's filling up. Pretty cool. This pattern is a nice comfortable pattern. It's easy to do. I made one for my husband and one for my son, and they wore them all last December. And they both said they got lots of compliments on them. So now I'm working on one for my son's roommate. And while I'm doing that, I thought, why not? We'll do a tutorial. It's a free pattern, by the way. And it's on Ravelry. But like I said, I will provide you a link. And I'm just going to keep going and see how many I get on here. All right, let's count and see how many we've got. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 20, 2, 4, 6, 8, 30, 2, 6, 8, 40, 2, 4, 6, 8, 50, 2, 4, 6, 60, 2, 4, 6, 8, 70, 2, 4, 6, 8, 80, 2, 4, 6, 8, 90, 2, 4, 94. 6 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. So that is 100 stitches. And now we're going to join in the round. And when we do that, we are going to do this magic loop. And magic loop is where you end up pulling a loop from here through and making it act like you've got 2 needles. And at this point, I don't care if they're even on each side, so I'm just going to pick a spot, like maybe right there. I'm going to fold it push the stitches on either side like that and just pull. Make sure you don't pull your needle back through, and then pull this through what I'm going to call the front. So that you have now pushed all of your stitches up toward the front, toward your needles. And there's your loop, right? And you want to make sure these are all facing the right way. And that means that you want these bumps all to be facing down. And then in order to connect, this is your tail, so you're not going to be doing anything with the tail, just kind of let it there. This is your working yarn. You want that laying up over the back. See how I did that? You want that laying over the back of your back needle, and then you're going to take that back needle and make another loop so you can reach in the front. So now you've got a loop over here, and you're going to have a loop over here. Those are your magic loops. And then when you get ready to knit, tension it however you're used to tensioning, but I knit continental now. I taught myself last year, and oh my gosh, it's awesome. So much faster than knitting English, for me at least. So that's how I tension it. And remember, this yarn is held double, so each stitch is going to have 2 strands of yarn. So you are going to go into this front stitch. You want the back cord as close as possible to this so that you don't get a big space here. And then you knit 1, and then you go and knit your second one. Remember, I'm doing knit 2, purl 2, ribbing. So that was my knit 2. Here is my purl and another purl, and then flip to the back. And this is the other reason that continental knitting for me works so well, because I can very easily flip from knits to purls. When I was knitting English style, I was constantly letting go of the right needle in order to flip the yarn over, and just not good. It felt like it was a lot of extra work. This I can actually get through pretty quick. And you have to learn how to read your knitting too. These are knits, these are purls, because they have those little purl bumps, they call them, right there. So 2 knits, that was a purl, so 1 more purl. And knit. And this first row is always a little fidgety because everything feels tight. That's 1 and 2. And roll. My needles are kind of clacking on the table too, but that's okay. And I'll probably speed this up. But I want you to see how to switch. Once you get to the end here where the loop is, I want you to see how to do that as well. And of course, keep sliding your stitches around so that it's comfortable and you're not pulling too much. Yeah, with this being synthetic yarn, I wasn't sure that it was going to be stretchy enough, but it's actually quite stretchy. It makes wonderful headband, hats, mittens. I made, well, I'm in the process of making something for someone, and I can't really talk about it on here yet because it's a gift and I haven't finished it, haven't given it to them yet, but I will share more information about that once that is done. So 2 pearls, 2 knits, and this one's a pearl. So when you get to the end, this needle is now free, so you can let it loose. You're going to twist everything, turn it, so that the needle you were working with in your right hand is now in the back. And then you're going to take your loop that's in your front stitches, and you're going to pull it through until your needle on the front goes into all of your stitches. And sometimes it's a little challenging on this first round, but if you get them up there, and then remember this yarn needs to lay over the back needle before you get started, and then you're going to pull that one out of the back so that you have a loop and bring that around to the front. And then you want to make sure again that all of your bumps are pointed downwards so that you don't get twisted down here. And sometimes you'll need to roll the needle, but then you need to roll these back so that they're all pointing down like that. Then tension your yarn again. And in order to avoid what they call a ladder here, where there's too much space between the front and the back, after you get your needle, that's 4. There we go. After you get your needle in, remember to pull that cable up close. Oops, I should be purling because we stopped with a purl there. So we'll bring that to the front, which means we're going to do that and still pull your cable close. And pull that off. Tighten it just a smidge, not too much. And now we're going to do a knit because that's the next in our pattern. To avoid the ladders, pulling on that second stitch right after you switch the needles is what really keeps you from getting the laddering effect there. So now we can just continue on our way. Knitting and purling. Knit 2, purl 2. These are knits, and we'll push everything up again. And I'll show you what I do at the end down here too. It's not anything too special, but it helps avoid a loose spot or laddering at that front end as well. If you haven't knit before, you should give it a try. It's actually a lot of fun. And you do not have to go fast. But whether you go fast or slow, because you're using your hands, it actually helps release serotonin in your brain, which is a happy hormone, which makes you feel good and reduces stress. So whether you knit quickly or slowly, knitting is a good thing for you. And when you're done, you have some really cute things that you can use or share or show off or donate. And it doesn't have to be expensive. You saw the yarn that I'm using here cost me $2 for one skein that I think is 100 grams. Yeah, it's 100 grams. And it's nice yarn. So it doesn't have to be expensive, but if you like independent dyers, then that might get a little bit expensive. But if you've got the means, please do support independent dyers. They're trying to make a living just like the rest of us, and they're creative and they come up with some really awesome things. Visit your local yarn shop, give them some financial love so that they can stay in business too, because knitting is awesome. And the knitting community is awesome. They come out and support each other. That's my kind of stuff. I like that. All right, we're getting close to being back around here after all these 100 stitches. My husband's trying really hard to be quiet in the background while I'm recording. He's doing a good job. And the last 2 purls. And then this one was that 1 stitch, so I'm just pulling that a little bit tighter. That's the one that we just flipped upside down. And oops, and it needs to be a purl, so the yarn in the front. And we go. This one's now free. And we flip everything around again. Try to snug that up. And you see there's a big old space in there, but that's okay. It is not going to cause a problem in the end. All right, make sure that you've got your needles comfortable the way that they want to be. You've got your loop out here. And then again, you're going to move your front stitches to the tip of the needle. And you can see they moved a little bit easier that time. You got to find your tail. There's the tail. I'm going to flip that over the front now. This working yarn gets flipped over the back needle. You pull the back needle out to get your loop so that you can start working in the front. Tension your yarn. Come on now. There we go. And I'm just going to work the tail in a couple of times. Remember, we ended with purls. So I'm going to, and remember to pull that cable up close. I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to knit underneath the tail. Go behind it and get the working yarn and pull that. And now I've caught the tail between those 2 stitches. So that helps keep that tight there. So now I got to do 2 purls, so I'm going to do that. And I'm not going to grab that tail in anymore. I just wanted it in those first 2 stitches. So now I can tuck that down under, get it out of the way, and knit, purl, knit, knit. And now you can see the stitches are a little bit looser. So it'll start going a little faster. And what I want you to do now is just keep on going like this until the length from cast on to the top, that measures about 6 or 7 inches. And then we'll come back and see what it looks like, because we will fold it over so it'll end up only being half the length that it is. Here is one of the Santa hats I made last year. This one is for my husband. He wore it all last December. But you can see this is the yarn that we've got here, 2x2 rib. This is about 2 inches, so the actual full length is 4 inches. So that's what we're working on now. And then when we come back, after we get the full length of this done, we will come back and I'll show you how to attach the red yarn to these live stitches so that then you can start knitting stockinette all the way up. And you start out with that and you knit for a while and then you start doing decreases. Now it goes down to a point, and then we make this cute little pom-pom with the white yarn and add it on there and you're all set. It actually goes pretty fast. That's it for today. Enjoy doing your 2x2 ribbing, and I'll see you back here next time. Happy knitting!